fortunate enough today to have with us Blake Nelson of Hellmuth & Johnson. Welcome, Blake.
Thank you.
Blake is a business law attorney with Hellmuth & Johnson. What type of area do you really practice in, Blake?
Primarily under the umbrella of real estate law and business corporate law, transactional mergers, acquisitions, business and entity formation.
Okay. So, which leads me to my first question. When do I need to incorporate or create an LLC?
Well, I think anytime anybody's going to enter into a business venture, they want to consider very strongly forming some type of business entity. The reason is that first you're going to create a liability shield for yourself so that the personal assets that you might have cannot be touched by creditors or people that might have claims against your company. The other reason is it adds credibility. Frankly, if I'm Blake Nelson, DBA, Blake Nelson Painting versus, ABC Painting Incorporated, it lends credibility when you're dealing with people that are using your services.
Do you see that there's a revenue threshold, such as if I sell creative memory products from my home and it's more of a hobby, is there really a need for me to incorporate?
Probably not. If you're not actively out there in commerce, that you're dealing with situations that would incur a threshold amount of liability, you probably don't need to have an entity. However, at the same time, there are entities that you can form, such as a single member LLC, that would still give you that liability shield, but would be for all other respects taxed and treated like a sole proprietorship, so it would have pretty low maintenance.
Okay. So in light of the internet and the ease of obtaining documents to incorporate, why would I need to hire an attorney to do that for me?
Those forms are readily available on the internet at the Secretary of State's office, for example, for the state of Minnesota, but frankly, you don't know where those forms on the internet have come from or who's created them, whether they might have been created for a different state that has different rules that don't apply here. And what I find in my practice very frequently happens is that someone goes to the Secretary of State, files the actual paperwork to get the entity set up, and then they don't do anything else. And that's where a problem can be created, because you need someone to actually then, for example, in a corporation, issue the shares, appoint officers, make it a true business with an actual minute book with records and such. So if you're going to be using the internet with forms and the like, you really don't know the source that it came from. But if you use an attorney, you know that at least you're having it done properly.
How often should I update my minutes?
Every year. We, for example, provide a service where annually we will prepare the minutes and update a corporate record book for a client and send them a reminder with a questionnaire, et cetera, similar to how a tax return is prepared by an accountant.
Well, as a practicing professional, I don't see that happening very often with my clients, so that's a really nice treat or service that your firm offers.
We have a lot of business corporate clients, and they seem to like that because it keeps them on top of that, and it's relatively inexpensive to perform each year. And
it's the price of security, maybe?
Yeah, they know that their minute book's updated, and so if a bank ever needs to look at it, or if you ever got into a lawsuit where somebody was requesting that information, everything is in order.
One final question for you, and this is one I get quite a bit. Does it matter which state I incorporate in?
For the most part, if you're going to be doing business in Minnesota, I would recommend incorporating or forming your LLC in the state of Minnesota, because that is going to be, you're going to be best served by that, because most of your commerce is happening in this state. You want everything to be governed by the laws of the state that you're in. It makes it easier. If you're going to be doing interstate commerce, or if you're going to be doing a lot of work in other states or nationally, you may want to consider a different state. There are some states, such as Delaware, that do have much more favorable laws from many people's perception for doing national business. And also, Delaware is a very nationally recognized state as far as being a good place to form your business. But if you're going to be doing business within the state of Minnesota, I think that your best bet is to form that entity in Minnesota.
Thank you, Blake. I appreciate the great information.
You're welcome.